5. Zong. Zong, zong, zong. This body works for me. Okay, so listen up, guys. I was supposed to record an intro, but because I was messing around, I completely forgot. So I really hope you enjoyed the video. I love you guys so much, and goodbye. Please don't ask me. Do not ask me if I'm wearing a bra. I'm not. Like, I hardly... Oh, my, also the skipper's a bit dirty, hey? Anyway, so my brows are done. Because you guys know that I like doing my brows off camera. For anybody who wants to know how I do my brows, I literally use this Benefit brow micro filling pen, and I just line underneath my brows. I don't know if you can see that. Don't worry about my drink, child. I'm gonna need this drink because I was not expecting to tell the story time. As well as you guys know me, I'm not someone who genuinely likes doing updated makeup tutorials, but here we are. A lot of people have been asking me ever since I started doing like the lipstick with the Revlon, so I'm just gonna plug you guys real quick, real fast in this video. The first thing that I normally do is what people would assume as color correct, but I don't really color correct with a red concealer. I just normally color correct with something that's very close to my skin tone, and I found out that it works for me because it's not necessarily that I have a lot of dark circles anymore. It's just that obviously I just have those uneven patches like under my eye and sometimes around my what do you call this part, my cheekbones. I tend to have a little bit of uneven tones, so what I do is I normally put it on the T-zone. And I've felt like when I mix this eraser, this Maybelline concealer with its sister, this concealer, I just get like a very nice even tone, right? So yeah, without rambling too much, let me jump into the story time. So I'm not gonna really be describing, I'll just probably put the products here for anyone who needs to know. For Nathan's story time, I'm actually just gonna have to start at the beginning. And you know what, to be really honest with you guys, I did not want to tell the story time because I feel like out of most of my exes, Nathan and I, we're okay. Like, we really don't have any beef. We're still very, very good friends. We still see each other frequently. Like, who knows, we might get back together. Who knows, we might still be seeing each other. You never really know with me, because one thing about me, I will most likely choose the most toxic ex ever. Kidding! No, what's actually happening is that Nathan and I really, really loved each other. We really still have a lot of love towards each other. So I didn't want to tell the story because I wasn't sure if I'm going to take him back, you know? But anyway, let me just tell it, because when I came back from Fawn, I was just very, very upset. So anyway, let's jump into the story. I don't know if anybody knows about me and Nathan and how we began, but we met in December 2020, and then we started dating in like I think from December essentially we started dating, because we were like inseparable from that moment onwards, right? And I remember my other friend telling me, dude, don't fall in love with Nathan. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna fall in love with Nathan. Like, man, he's just like a fun time. I just wanted vibes. I just wanted a bite for December. God damn. He's gonna end up being my bite for like 2+ years. So that's why I get an ish. There are certain exes I don't really like talking about, because there are certain exes that really mean a lot to me, and Nathan is one of them, right? So Nathan, I did a story time on him like a long time ago, where there was another woman involved, and then obviously right after that we became serious, and then him and I started having issues. You know, him and I started having issues in our relationship, and I think it's issues that I've touched on a lot of the time in my videos about certain elements of Nathan that I didn't like, and I actually touched on our issues in the videos of the things that I struggle with. I did touch on a lot of the issues that I had with regards to the type of character that he was and the type of character that I was, and why, as much as we loved each other, there were certain elements that were really not working. So one of the biggest things about him and I was that he had a hard time with forgiveness. Okay, he had a very difficult time with forgiveness. He could hold a grudge. Like in a relationship, holding a grudge is not a good thing. But like, one of the things that broke us up was the fact that Nathan would hold a grudge over something that I may have done like 3 months ago. Now, one thing about me, guys, I am a hothead, ne? Okay, I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I am a hothead, and I just didn't appreciate some of the things that happened in our relationship, so I would address them and I was very vocal about them. And now he was the complete opposite. Like, he could not respond to confrontation. Like, he just doesn't even like the thought of it, the sound of it. Like, once someone starts getting upset, he wants nothing to do with it. And you know, there's those fight or flight, but sometimes in a relationship, to flight is not a good idea. So we started having a lot of falling outs in our relationship, you know. And also there were certain elements where I thought that Nathan was cheating on me, and I still think that till today. Like, please don't get me wrong, nothing has changed. I still think that Nathan cheated on me. So fast forward to last year, in around January, Nathan and I break up. Like, I was just like, I can't do this anymore, I can't hold on to this anymore, whatever the case may be. Now, when I broke up with Nathan, I think he wasn't actually taking me seriously that I broke up with him, because he was very shocked to find out that I moved on. Introduction to Frank, obviously, right? He was very surprised to find out that I moved on. So I was very tired of chasing Nathan. Nathan had a lot of emotional issues that were also affecting his ability to communicate, and as a result of, like, you know, traumas that he's experienced growing up. So it kind of affected our ability to have a relationship. And to be really honest with you, I was just at a point where I was like, I can't be with someone who has really horrible communication skills, because I've dated someone like him. I've dated people who have used silent treatment as a form of abuse. So I really wasn't prepared to go through it again. And it was a result of dating someone like Drake. I was not prepared. Guys, I just love lasting fix from Maybelline. I just love Maybelline products. Cool, fine. I let him go. I break up with him, and he obviously doesn't actually rate what I'm saying. Like, I tell him, no, it's over between us. And I think by that time he was already checked out of our relationship, which really hurt, because for a long time before I even broke up with him and before I moved on, I felt alone in our relationship. I would tell him, like, dude, I don't understand why it is so difficult to communicate with me. Like, if you don't want to be in this relationship anymore, just say the word. And, you know, sometimes he would ignore me. Sometimes, you know, he would act like I'm just overthinking things and whatever the case may be. But then at some point he started telling me that Mallela, he doesn't want to do this anymore. And I'm assuming that he had begun moving on. And to be really honest with you, I felt like that's what was going on. I felt like Nathan was actually just entertaining other women, and he just didn't know how to tell me that he didn't want to be with me anymore, which was painful. I'm not even gonna lie, like, that was the worst 2 months of my life. So this was December, Jan. Fast forward to March, I meet Frank. I decide I'm gonna move on. You know, I go out on dates with Frank. You know, I actually fall head over heels for Frank. And when I fall for Frank, I've completely cut Nathan off. Like, I have cut Nathan off. Like, I have moved on. As in, like, even when I hear his name, I do not want to hear Nathan's name. That's how bad it was. So Nathan and I obviously stopped talking for that period in time. Like, obviously he found out through people. He saw my YouTube video with Frank. I then started getting like the hem of people telling me that, yeah, no, Nathan's been asking about me, and people have been telling him that I've moved on, and now he's going around telling people that I was the love of his life, this, that, and the third. Yawn fest, to be really honest, because you had every opportunity to love me, but you didn't. So I was not interested at that time to hear anything that Nathan has to say about loving me. I was not interested. Okay guys, I'm going to be contouring with this L'Oreal concealer, but it's in the color Honey. It's a very, very light shade. You guys will notice now. So anyway, fine. And then whilst we are broken up, now the thing about me is that I never really blocked him. Like, I never blocked him. I never said, hey, we can never talk again, da 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 da. But I just I cut him out of my life completely. I should not be wearing this and doing makeup. It's not a smart idea. I just cut him off, and I chose to move on. I chose to post Frank. Frank was being a very present gent, and although Frank had his own setbacks, I was very much happy to be with Frank. And then one day I had this horrible dream about Nathan and about one of Nathan's family members, And And the dream was so horrible, but it was so vivid that I was scared, because I'm one of those people at times where I can have dreams, very vivid dreams, very scary dreams, and they're more likely to come true. Yes, for anybody who wants to know, my mom was someone who was very much spiritually gifted. So fine, I have this horrid dream of Nathan. Like, I think 2 months into my relationship, you know, I have this horrid dream of him, and I reach out to him and I ask him, dude, are you okay? Like, what's going on? Because I had this horrible dream about you, and I know we're not talking, but and it was early. I think I texted him in the early hours of the morning, and I was at Frank's house. That's how heavy the dream was. Like, I was dreaming about Nathan at Frank's house, and I was worried, and I think I even told Frank about it, and I asked him, like, dude, hey, I'm someone who's like this, Frank. How should I approach this situation? And Frank was like, nah, dude, do what you feel is best for the situation. You know, Frank was just very like understanding. He was a very supportive boyfriend when it came to situations that involved my exes, because he was actually very understanding. I don't know why essentially that he was so understanding. Maybe because he also had relationship with these exes that I knew nothing about. But like, he was just like, Frank was like, do what you need to do. Do you want to reach out to him? Because I was like, Frank, what must I do? Like, this dream woke me up in my sleep. And he was like, hey man, just do what you think is best. Maybe reach out, whatever. So I was like, no, I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna ask him if he's okay, because I have a feeling that this dream wasn't a normal type of bad dream. So I reach out to Nathan and I say, hey dude, I had this kind of a dream about you. Are you okay? Kanti, lo and behold, to my surprise, my dream was very much accurate about what was going on in Nathan's life at that point. My dream was so accurate that Nathan just kind of, you know, like, he went off on a tangent. He started telling me everything that was going on. He started being on some, you know, like, I've got a lot going on in my life right now, and this is happening, and this is happening, and now he's venting, essentially. He's venting to me. He's telling me how he's been feeling. He's telling me what's going on in his life right now. And now these are things I had dreamt of, small in bits and pieces. But then the big dream was like that dream, like, I had to talk to him about it, because there was a message conveyed to me in that dream that I had to tell him. So I tell him the dream, and essentially what happens is we then start talking. From that point on, he talks to me. He tells me like, hey, this has been going on, this is how I'm feeling, yada yada yada. Okay guys, next up I'm gonna go in with this Revlon Ultra HD lipstick. Now I know you guys have noticed that I've been doing this lately. I've been using this lipstick as a cream blush, and it's been the best thing I've ever decided to do. Like, I saw it on some girl on Instagram who was doing it, and then I was just like, let me jump into this, and I actually love how it turns out, right? And I normally do the blush before I do my highlight, because you guys will see, it'll make sense. So fine, he then starts really telling me and divulging everything that's going on in his life at the moment. He's like, now, you know, very emotional. It's like a really sad conversation. It was probably one of the saddest conversations him and I have had in a minute. And he was just going on and on and on, to a point where I didn't even think he asked me how I was doing until like an hour or two later. But it didn't matter at that time, because I was more so worried about him. I'm gonna take this brush and go in. Then that's kind of how him and I started talking again. It just became very, very like general chats. There was really like nothing inappropriate. There was nothing anything. I mean, you know, as far as I remember, right after that conversation, we hardly spoke a lot, but like, he would like speak to me every day. Like, I think that broke the seal, where right after I was like, hey, are you okay? No, I'm just checking in on you, I'll check on you, cool stuff. Then he would start saying good morning and how you doing, and I'm like, okay. All right. Then I'd go like a day or two without responding to him, because really I just didn't care. At that time I was very much frustrated with the pain that Nathan had put me through. Like, I was in so much pain. I wish I could describe the pain that I was in. I was in a lot of pain. But I understood how much he needed a friend, because I don't think anybody understood the situation that he was in better than me, because it was happening whilst him and I were together. So I just obviously kept it a really big secret. I didn't really tell Frank much about him and I speaking again. I mean, I would in dribs and drabs, but I didn't really tell Frank about the parts where Nathan would speak about us and our relationship. But essentially Nathan then obviously kind of came clean about how he felt about me moving on. So at some point or the other, him and I decided we're gonna go get closure. We're gonna get closure from our relationship, get closure from each other. And I think it was me who asked him, like, do you think we need closure? And he was like, yeah, I think I need closure. I think I need closure from our relationship. And I remember even via text asking, like, what do you actually need the closure for? Because you were horrible to me in the last few months of our relationship. So what did you actually need the closure for? You made it very clear that you didn't want to be with me. So what the hell? Hi, fine guys, I go and I link up with him, obviously behind Frank's back. It wasn't really like behind Frank's back. It's not like I was going there to go get rounds. Like, this was something I had to do. This was something I literally felt I had to do in order to move forward and to kind of like be a better partner to Frank, because there were certain elements of myself that I felt were coming out again that I really didn't enjoy. Like, I saw elements of myself in Frank, and I felt like Frank was taking the heat for a lot of things that he didn't do. Like, Frank was really bearing the brunt of a lot of things. No, not to say that Frank was a great boyfriend. No. There are certain elements about Frank that, you know, have changed a lot in the scope of our relationship. But in regards to me, I've also been at the forefront of, you know, I could have done better, but I didn't. Okay, fine. Him and I link up. We have a decent conversation, but obviously, to be honest, that conversation goes nowhere. Like, we have the conversation, that's when he starts being like honest with the fact that he was angry at me for a long time. He was angry at me. He was like really angry at me. He had really held a grudge at how our relationship played out, and he just wasn't in any position where he wanted to forgive me yet. Wada. Because I think, when did him and I start speaking again? We started speaking, it was a casual thing, but then like we'd go days without speaking to each other, and then we met. We saw each other at someone's funeral, and that day things just became really tense. Like, well, not tense like tense, like the feelings were just too strong. Like, you know when people are still very much in love with each other and it's obvious, like everybody in the room can see what's going on. Like, it was too obvious. Like, things were just too obvious, you know. And I think it was at that point I also realized, oh fuck, I think there are a lot of unresolved issues between Nathan and I that we might need to address without me hurting anyone in the process, because I know for a fact that at the rate that this is going, I will end up hurting someone who doesn't deserve to be hurt, whether that be Frank or Nathan, right? Because I could already tell that Nathan wanted me back, and at some point or the other he came clean about it. I don't remember at which point or the other, but he did come clean about it at some point, that he was still very much in love with me. He was still very much upset with the fact that I moved on so quickly. He just didn't understand what made me move on so quickly. Like, how could I just, you know, up and leave the relationship like it never existed? And I'm like, I think this is where the closure had to come through, because I feel like he couldn't see beyond his own pain. That like, no dude, no. I didn't actually walk out on this relationship. You walked out on me whilst we were in a relationship, you know? Okay, fine. Fine. So essentially, Naledi, then it becomes a lot more tense, ne? Becomes a lot more tense, and now the double-edged sword is that I start seeing elements in Frank that I don't like. Like, I do not like, there are elements of Frank. It's just like, there's a lot of things I can deal with in a man, but there are certain elements that I saw in Frank that I was just not willing to deal with. And the thing is, if I tell you guys what those elements are, a lot of women would understand. Like, one of the things that I can tell you off the bat that I did not like about Frank is that he was too social. Like, he was always out, he was always drinking, he was always getting drunk, and I was just like, you know what, as much as I really don't mind he needs to live his life, I had a really big problem with someone who would drink as excessively as Frank does, you know. And the thing is, a lot of people might say, but he's young, you know, he needs to enjoy his life. And I get paid, guys, I get paid. You know what, that one I'll never like take away from him. Like, he really does need to enjoy his life. I get paid, he does need to enjoy his life. I'm all for him enjoying his life. However, I also need to ask myself, is that someone I want to build with? And when I say drink excessively, I'm not saying someone who goes out every weekend and I'm saying when the drinking starts affecting our relationship, like, you know, getting into an accident, doing this, me feeling like I have to pick up the pieces, me getting worried when someone goes out, that kind of excessive drinking. It wasn't just like drinking, it was excessive. And for me, it was excessively problematic because every time he would drink, I would get anxiety. Because, like, there was even one time where he lied to me about his car. You see? No, man, I can't deal with this. And the thing is, now, when that had happened, that was like the second or third time that we had an incident with him drinking and, you know, kind of like, you know, those things, man. Like, I have no problem with people drinking, but I have a big problem with people putting their lives at risk. Because as a woman, if anything were to happen to me, okay, I think the most important one, the one that really changed my perspective, there were two incidents that changed my perspective. The first one was me being so far out of town and calling my partner and not being able to find my partner, you know, and not being able to know where my partner is. And if I was stranded and I needed someone, I would not be able to call him. But with all my other exes, I could call them and plans could be made. They would come pick me up. I would feel safe. And now, for the first time in a really long time, I was in a relationship where I did not feel like I couldn't even, like, you know when as women sometimes you want to dawa and then call your partner, baby, come get me. Sorry guys, I keep pouring this thing on the table. You know, sometimes we have those relationships as girls where we can get drunk and then call our partners to come get us, and then the partners come get us and stuff. I couldn't do that in the last relationship I was in because I knew that 80% of the time, if this person wasn't out drinking as well, that were the case, alongside a lot of other things that I just really didn't appreciate. Like, I really didn't appreciate how not thoughtful the person was in the relationship. I really didn't appreciate having to teach a grown adult to be thoughtful in a relationship when, in my mind, this person was in a relationship. So why is this person not thinking like someone who's in a relationship? You understand what I'm saying? Like, there were a lot of elements that really made me question, you know, I think he's a great guy, but I just don't think he's a guy for me, you know? And not to shade him or drag him, that was never the intention, but the excessive drinking, the excessive partying, the constant going out, the constant wrecking of things. Like, there was a point where I had to drive out to go pick him up. Like, I just didn't like being in a relationship with someone I had to worry about, especially someone that's older than me. Like, I just didn't appreciate it. And even now, like, when I think about it, it makes me so angry and anxious because even when I would do those acts, right? Even when I would, like, you know, be there, show up for him in times of need, I didn't feel the gratitude of someone who should be grateful that, my partner drove all the way to pick me up and do all this stuff. And, like, the thing is, I've never even experienced that once with him. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. I was just at a point where I quickly realized that as much as I really care for you and I have deep feelings for you, a man who drinks excessively is a liability. No, men can drink, eh? I have no problem with men drinking. I have no problem with men being Optimus Primes and calling us his girlfriends and stuff. But I have a really big problem with someone where my anxiety will shoot up once you start drinking. Like, I have a really big problem with not being able to call my partner once you start drinking. I have a really big problem with not being able to access my partner once you start drinking. I have a really big problem with men who do things that make me uncomfortable. Like, I've never dated someone, like, when they get drunk, they want to get on top of chairs and stuff like that. So for me, that was just like a, hi, bro, what's happening? Yeah, you know? So I was really in shock. It was like it was a shock to the system. It was a shock to the system to date someone like that. And it started really affecting how I looked at him for many reasons, even though it was okay. Like, it's okay for him to do those things. He's a single man. He's a single gent. But also in the same breath, I was like, that is not a man I'm going to call my gent. Under any circumstantial whatever. Alongside other issues, there were other bigger issues, which for the first time in a really long time, I can tell you with my chest, I've never experienced such issues with any of my exes, you know? So I was just not prepared. I was not prepared to deal with this. And now I was starting to deal with one side. I've got Nathan crying love back, you know, telling me, you know, wanting closure, doing all of this. And then I've got Frank, whom I felt like I was taking care of a grown-up, you know? And I felt like my efforts were not appreciated. The little things that I would do were never reciprocated unless there was something big happening or whatever. I dealt with someone who would forget on our dates. I dealt with someone who would forget if I was hungry. I dealt with someone on asang nahanele ngamo. So now I'm stuck because I'm like, na motho o ke tla ho yana ka di grocery ke fitla hae ka ntutse jalo whatever the case may be. Motho o a ka tla ona a fitle a phutile matso a sa tla ka nix. Wang understand? And that for me was such a big issue. And I couldn't even describe how big of an issue it was. I think the first red flag for me with my relationship with Frank was 2 weeks after we met and he asked to use my car. And I was like, what? And now the thing is, he had patrakat me because he had asked me in front of his friend. And now I'm just like, I want to say no for so many reasons because I'm just like, but your car's here. Why are you using my car? I mean, we just met 2 weeks ago and I don't know what your driving is like. I don't know what's happening. Like, not but you guys would not be vouching for me to stay with him. I always will have love for him, but like he could like in the first 2 weeks that we met. Kamofa. You know, because initially I was just like, it's okay, it's fine. But I was still also like, red flag, why would you use my car to go drop off your friend? Why don't you use your own car? You know what I'm saying? And then there were other little things like, and whatever, there were other little things like, he didn't even so much as offer me the 20 ranta ya petrol, but I was always traveling up and down to his house. It's almost like dating someone that knows that you're well off so they don't do anything for you. Now I'm stuck with a man like that. And now the thing about Nathan was, Nathan had a lot of pride, okay? He had a lot of pride. Like even when he didn't have a good of a job as Frank, whatever the case may be. But Nathan, in the little that he had, the last 200 rand, Nathan would buy something for me with 100 rand. Frank could have 200 rand, but Frank will give me 20 rand and will keep 180 rand for himself. Which is fine. Working with someone, dating someone in the finance sector, I get why. Those people are frugal as fuck. But now, don't be frugal and be in a relationship. Don't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work. No, and the thing is, it doesn't work when you are not even willing to meet your partner halfway. And I think the one thing that I picked up, I was like, you know what, dude, there is no way I can stay with you in a place where we are together 4 or 5 times in a week. So next time Frank, and the thing is, I didn't want to touch base on them too much because I was just like, I never ever want to paint Frank as a bad person. Like I never want to paint Frank as a bad person. He will always be a good person in my eyes. He'll always be great. He will always be a decent boyfriend to me. But like I said, there were certain elements of him that I picked up quick fast that were not ideal for someone like me. Cool. As someone who's really giving, being with someone like that was like a shocker to me. I was not prepared for what I was experiencing. All right, fine. So what does Naledi do? Naledi drifts back to Nathan. Where Frank is lacking, Nathan picks up the speed. Nathan goes in hard. And Nathan now starts, he's working overtime, he's buying me flowers, he's delivering them to the house, he's doing a lot of things, dude. Like if I say I'm hungry and I post on Twitter, he will come back, he will say, what do you want to eat? Let me buy for you. Like you see, Nathan, okay, let me give an example of how Nathan would be. I'm like, I'm hungry on Twitter. Nathan would be like, what are you craving? I'm like, no, I'm craving KFC. Nathan would be like, okay, what do you want from KFC? Let me buy for you. Frank, I'd be like, ooh, I'm hungry. He's like, ooh, what are you craving? KFC. No, you should buy it, man. Don't worry about the chip. I'm not fucking kidding. Yo, I was down bad, and now bear in mind, Frank's birthday was like 2 weeks after I met him at the festival. So I was like going, oh, I'll buy him all money, whatever. You know that the very first thing Frank bought me was overseas, guys. Like, Frank, shame. Brothers are nothing. And another thing is, you can tell when a man has money but he doesn't want to do it. And now the reason why I started getting irritated was because he had money to go drink with these buddies, but then he didn't have money to do nice things for me. I was just like, what the fuck? Yo guys, I don't relationship. That's why I get it. I'm full of vodka too much because I'm not here to bash my exes. Like, I'm not here to bash any of them. So now, you see, now I'm dealing with two different types of men. I've always been exposed to men, when I say I'm hungry, they jump. Even Kenneth, he will deliver Haagen-Dazs to my place. I get Drake was on top of the money, you know. Nathan was also that nigga. Like, Nathan knew that Naledi likes traditional food. So on Mondays, he'll call me. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go to this place in Alex. Do you wanna come with me? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, I'm gonna get my car washed. I'm just gonna get some food. I was thinking maybe if you want your car washed, because you know what, Nathan, what was so sweet? He was like, I know that you don't wash your car, so come, bring your car. I'm gonna get you a car wash, and I'm gonna get you food. How do you not take your ex back after the other one is not doing the things that should be done for you? Well, understand that? You see, now I'm dealing with a man who does not make even close to the money that my current makes, but my current will not even lift a finger, but will take my car and drive. Ah, sa kenya le 200 ya petrol. Maro drive ile tsa batla le ntho tse fontlu ya hae. One day, I'll tell you guys more about my former relationship, and you guys will understand why I walked. I'm not the type to diss niggas, but anyway. And I touched on it a little bit in the other story where I spoke about overseas, but it's fine. But I'm not a shady woman. Like, but I'm a bit shady. I'm a bit shady because I feel like everyone in my comments, my subscribers, like, oh no, take Frank back, do this. Yeah, Luna, let's talk all. Young little. So anyway, I find I hang out with Nathan a lot more. I'm feeling a lot more like drawn towards him all over again. And I hang out with him, you know. Like, there are even times where like I didn't want to see Frank. I broke up with Frank for these reasons that I'm mentioning on the channel. These are not reasons that are foreign to him. Like, I broke up with him for these reasons per se. I broke up with him because I felt like he was someone who just he wasn't thoughtful. He was not thoughtful. Like, yo, it's so sad because he was the sweetest boyfriend I ever had, but he was just, I don't even want to say ignorant, but I'm gonna use the word ignorant because there's no way you're that naive. Especially knowing that he came out of another relationship that was long term. I was like, this is not naivety. This is just plain pure bliss. Ignorance is bliss. What you don't know won't hurt you. What you don't know, you're not gonna pick up your hands for. Period. Hi, Kek, I know, Miss Cat. Frankie, But Frank will always tell me, I'm going out with the boys, we're gonna go grab a drink and stuff. You know, I even patraka him one time. I was like, okay, so yo guys, I was like, okay, what are you gonna do? I'm like, no. He's like, I'm going out for drinks with my friends. I'm like, okay, so who's gonna be paying the bill? It's gonna be one of your other friends has money. And he's like, no, we all split it evenly. And I'm like, so he has money to go drink, but he just doesn't have money to do things for me. Okay, I'm not gonna tell the story of what happened when we were overseas, guys, because yo, but he's still a good guy. Like, you know, it's funny, he did apologize for all the things that he did eventually when he started realizing that I spy. Like, I was, you know what, there's a lot of things I can deal with in a relationship, but like I said, I cannot deal with a stingy person, and that was like definitely the deal breaker for me and him. Like, I get it, you're frugal, you've been through things, you know. maybe you can like body there to but that to doing things himself. I completely commend him for that, but I cannot deal with a stingy, period, point blank. I can back. No, I've never been with a stingy man. My father was always a gracious, giving man. I'm not about to start and live my life with a man or chelete so. Sorry. Anyway, so fine, I get back together. No, I don't get back together with Nathan. Hold the boat. Whoa. Briga Boba. I don't get back together with Nathan as of yet, ne? Even I don't even think at any point you got back together. No, guys, we did. Like, at some point, it started moving from Naledi, Nathan to baby. What? It just casually went back into its element, right? So I went overseas, I came back, I saw from that point in time that no, I can't do this. I have so many issues with my current relationship, but I also have so many unresolved feelings for Nathan. And obviously Nathan and I, by that time, we had started, like, Nathan had made it very clear, like, I want you back. I'm sorry for what I put you through. There was a lot of conversation. There was a lot of, questions, like moments for closure and stuff. And it was just a lot. It was a lot of hurtful conversations. It was a lot of things because Nathan obviously came at a time where he helped me get over Drake. So he was a very sentimental boyfriend to me. And also when I met Frank, I still wasn't over Nathan. So I felt like I owed Nathan that. I owed him that closure that he deserved. I owed him the closure that I felt like I needed as well, because I was just starting to ask myself, why are all my relationships playing out like this? What am I doing wrong? Is it because I'm not getting any closure from them? I find eventually I move away from Frank. Like, guys, I will always have love for Frank. I think Frank is a great guy, but they are just thing that Frank did that I really did not appreciate, and I just couldn't forgive him for them, because they were little things that made up a relationship, and it then made me question, like, this is someone I cannot spend my forever with. So it wasn't like I was breaking up with Frank to get back with Nathan. I didn't want to get back with Nathan because I felt like Nathan was very toxic. I felt like Nathan was emotionally destructive, and I was starting to go see other people. I was going on dates with other guys. I would speak to Nathan, I would speak to Frank, but I would go on dates with other people. And I was living my life. Don't put it past me to live my life, Miss Scott. Okay, fast forward to Fun City. Now, throughout these months, Nathan comes in hard, remainder of the few months, and then Fun City comes around, right? I'm going to be using a baked bronzer. Fun City comes around. I obviously get invited to come down to Fun City, whatever. It's safe to say that Nathan and I are definitely like, we have been seeing each other. He's been taking me out on a lot of dates, and it's been interesting, interesting. I get to Fun City. Hi, fine. Now Nathan, as far as I'm concerned, he was seeing someone. I get a little now was seeing Frank. He was seeing someone, but he was like, no, it wasn't serious. He wasn't dating that girl, whatever the case may be, yada, 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 this, that, and the third. On the last night of Fun, I see this other girl, ne? And for story's sake, I'm gonna call her Sweetie, because she really is a sweetie pie, like shame. Like I have nothing bad to say about her, There is a point in the story where I really doubted her, but then, I still do have my doubts about how she handled the way she handled things, and I still feel like to a certain degree, I don't think she had my best interests at heart. I think she was just trying to protect herself. But I will still say she is a sweetie pie. Sweetie pie and I link up that day on the Sunday, and I actually ask her, I'm like, dude, why has this other person of hers been mean to me? I ask her, I'm like, this other person that she's closely linked to, I'm like, why was this girl always mean to me? And she says, no, let me keep it a buck with you. This girl was mean to you because I was seeing Nathan at the time that I found out that you and Nathan were seeing each other. I'm like, I'm Zwanga. I'm like, huh? She's like, yes. There was this particular event that you came to. She then starts reminding me. She starts taking me through the timelines. She's like, there's this particular event that you came to. Naledi. And I remember because that day Ekare, you had invited Nathan and you came to the door and then you said, no man, can I have another tag? My boyfriend is coming. And then after that he rocked up and then it obviously started clicking. And she was like, that's when I found out that the person I was seeing is your boyfriend. I'm like, so she was like, I found out that my supposed boyfriend is now dating you. That's how I found out. And obviously I was so hurt. I was so angry. I was like, how could he do this? And now the thing is, he never even told me about Sweetie Pie. You know, he never even uttered a word about Sweetie Pie. He never said anything, which is what I think angered me even more. Because I told him about Frank. He knew about Frank. I never hid Frank, but he deliberately hid Sweetie Pie. And now the thing is, throughout the course of that night, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, he never told me anything. Now we're sitting there. We emotional, dude. Now we're sitting there. It's emotional. It's emotional. And I'm crying because I'm just like, wait, what the fuck is actually going on here? She's like, yeah, no, I wasn't. It was never towards you. It's just that Nathan never came clean about you. He kept saying that you guys are no longer together. I asked him because I could pick up like how he's changed, you know, things like that. And when I asked him, are you back together with Naledi? He lied and said no. So technically, guys, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Me and Nathan, we were back together. You know, like, okay, fine. It was not a direct yoguti. We are back together, we are posting each other on the socials. No, I was hiding him very much so. But Nathan and I were spending so much time together. There was even a point where he slept over quite a few times. So we would go to breakfast together. Like, dude, we were being seen together. We were going to farmers market together. Like, yeah. Guys, nothing was cute, dog. Like, we were together, okay? So that's why I'm angry. Because I'm just like, I think what angered me most is that why did he lie to her and say we were not back together? So I get pissed off. Send him screenshots. Now I was drunk that day. I was like in my emotions. So I sent him a selfie. I'm like, oh, okay, so clearly you want me to be a sister wife. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm cussing. Because now I'm just like, I leave Frank. I go back to you. You still give me problems. I wasn't gonna go back to Frank. But like, still, bitch. You know, pick your fucking struggle. At some point or the other, you're gonna need to decide. You're either gonna be an ancient nigga or you're actually gonna come to the party. Okay? Fine. Hi, Umuntu now doesn't know what's going on. You know, he's acting very oblivious to what's currently happening, which is a mess. You know, he's in the gutter right now. It's a big thing, dog. It's a big thing. I'm crying that night. I end up going to bed. Like, I'm wailing. And the next day was a Monday. I was going back home. And obviously he was lying his way through it. Obviously, like, this girl was like, dude, this guy's lying. He denied sleeping with her. He denied everything. He denied sleeping with her. He denied being intimate with her. He denied dating her. He denied leading her on. He denied going to her house. Go Nathan, the way na buamaka. Yo. He was such a liar. And I think that day, obviously, because Nikam Patrakili, Kite, you're either gonna tell me the truth. So Nathan lied, guys. That's all I can tell you. If you guys are wondering if Nathan told the truth, Nathan lied. He lied. He lied to me. He said, yeah, no, I've never been with this girl, yada yada. You know, like, I haven't dated her. Like, I wasn't with her. We were not in a relationship, Naledi. Like, we were not together like you and I are together. Like, you're my girlfriend, but like, she was not that. I'm like, okay, so what were you, fuck buddies? What? Describe what you were. He's like, no. We weren't even fuck buddies. Like, we were just, we flirted here and there and stuff. Like, did you send each other nudes? Like, I need to know how far this went. And he's like, no. Naledi, no. I'm like, hi? Okay. And then now this girl, where things start getting tricky and I start realizing that I think I'm being made a fool by the both of them, is because she now asked me for the timelines of when I got back together with him, right? And I tell her, no, it was around May. It was around May that Nathan reached out to me again. And Nathan was like, hey. And she's like, what? Why? So I'm like to her, when did you guys start seeing each other? What happened? She doesn't tell me anything. She even promises me, no, when I get back to Joburg, you and I, we're gonna talk, what. Get back to Joburg, talk. Nothing, guys. She just goes ghost. Now her going ghost, I'm now going to Nathan. And I'm like, Nathan, let's go on a conference call, the three of us. I want to know where this ends. And Nathan's like, no, please, let's not do that. Whatever the case may be. But if you really want to do that, we can do a conference call. I will tell her, like, to her face. Hore, no. Yeah, Nathan is now ready to tell her, when did you and I sleep together? What are you telling Naledi, you know? So she went and told him a different series of events. On some, I was locking her in the bathroom and I was dying to know this, and that, and I was making her feel uncomfortable. That's what he now starts telling me. That when she relays the story to him, she's now saying that I basically patriced her and made her uncomfortable. And I'm like, but that is definitely not how things played out. You know, now I'm getting upset because I'm like, why is she doing this? I thought we were on the same team. I thought her and I, we are a team against the niggas, you know? So, guys, you know what? Let me go put on my wig and then I'll finish the story. But it was a long one. It really was a long one, hey? But it was a very good story time. Hi, Kay, congratulations. Your fave has broken a nail. I went from 10 to 9 nails. Anyway... And it also took me forever to get these lashes on. And also because it took me forever and I've gonna experience load shedding, I didn't even lay my friend. So I was just like, what the fuck? No. Okay, so where was I? I don't remember much about where I was, but I'm gonna do my lipstick and then I'll be done. Essentially, if I remember correctly, this girl basically, I've got lip sperm. This girl basically promised me that as soon as she gets to Joburg, we're gonna talk about it. She's gonna tell me everything. And then she basically went and she ghosted me, which honestly I was really sad about. But then I figured that maybe she was also quite hurt about the situation and she didn't want to dwell on it anymore. But I was definitely hoping that we can confront him because he was still lying about the capacity and the nature of what they were. But also, maybe he wasn't, you know? I'll never be the type to believe a man first. I would never believe a man first, but then it was very difficult to not believe him because then she just ghosted. Like, she was like, I'm gonna tell you everything, and then she didn't tell me anything anymore. It led me to believe that as much as he lied about the nature of what they were doing, she also may have lied and have exaggerated the situation of what her and him were. Because when I said, okay, show me the messages between the two of you, there was nothing. She could show me nothing. She just ghosted. But I'm also choosing to believe that maybe she just didn't want to dwell on it anymore. But I also know that girls lie a lot, and I do feel like to a certain degree I might have been lied to by the both of them. I feel like they both lied about, well, he may have lied about what they were not, and she may have lied about what they were. So it's a bit just tricky, and I was just like, I don't want to get involved in this anymore. I didn't. And yeah. That's what happened between Nathan and I and Sweetie. That's actually what happened while I was at Fun City, and I was just like, you know what, I cannot be involved in some ghetto ass rat ass shit like this again, you know? And I didn't talk to Nathan for like 3 weeks. I don't talk to him for 3 weeks. I was just like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to hear from you. I'm so sick of this shit. Like, most importantly, I feel like I wasn't having any, like I was having a lot of trauma because I was just like, you know what, this is not the first time that Nathan and I get involved in a situation where a girl will approach me and say, hey, Naledi, there's this guy that you're messing with, and I'm also messing with him too. And like I said, because Nathan was very sketchy with his phone, I had already known that Nathan is a liar and he's someone I can genuinely never take back. Like, we're still good. Like, we're still good. We still hang out together. There's still a lot of love for one another. But if I do find someone else and I move on, I think Nathan already knows what's up. Like, he knows what's up. And that's why he's probably still messing with other hands now. Of which isn't, guys, Mesani, ay Mesani, she miscut. Mesani. Because I was just like, let me see the conversations you guys were having, and he refused to show me. And then when I asked her, let me see the conversations you guys are having, she refused to show me. And I was very much open to showing her the conversations that I was having with Nathan, because you could tell that we were talking every single day, every hour of the day. Like, we were video calling at least 4 or 5 times a day. So I was just like, I evidently have nothing to hide, but these two have everything to hide. So I am not getting involved in their little quarrel that makes no sense to me. Let me get my setting spray. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna use this Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. So I like this one. This one I like it when I'm doing my routine throughout, and then this one I like it to finish it off because this one kind of gives that very mattifying effect, and I just like how it is. I don't really like a too much of a dewy finish, because especially in the summertime, a dewy finish does tend to get what's this? It tends to move around a lot. And it does give like a dewy finish at the end. It's just that I like the fact that when it does dry up, it dries up and it becomes so beautifully done, okay? So that is how I do my updated routine, and even though my eyes are looking so red and so crazy right now, but this makeup is looking gorgeous, honey. So yes, guys, that's pretty much what happened. That is pretty much what happened at Font City, to be really, really honest with you guys. It was nothing like shocking, but it definitely was shocking because I felt like both parties lied to me. And then I never spoke to Nathan for about 3 weeks after, so I didn't speak to him for most of December. And then he just came back into the picture, like he just started weaseling his way in. Because if there's one thing Nathan will do, he will weasel his way back into my life. Like, he will weasel his way back into my life to a point where I don't even take Nathan seriously anymore. Like, I've accepted that him and I, we will always have love for each other, we'll always care about each other, but he's just not someone I can build a future with, because he's not someone I can trust, you know? Like, if Nathan were to tell me something and I believed him at face value, then I would consider building a relationship with him again. But then the problem with him is that everything that he says, I take with a big grain of salt. So I can never, ever, ever, ever like trust him. And I've come to terms with the fact that I would never trust Nathan again. Frank, always going to trust him. He's never given me any reason not to trust him, but he's definitely given me reason not to want to build with him. So that's essentially what happened between me and my current partners, and that's why your girl's single as fuck. If you guys were wondering, because you guys are probably dying for the story time, you're begging for it, you're dying for it. So yeah, guys, comment down below, let me know what you actually think happened between these two. Do you think that they actually sort of kind of concussed each other not to tell me what was going on? Do you think that maybe Nathan this time was actually telling the truth, and maybe that's why the girl Sweetie didn't come through? Do you think that maybe Sweetie was just tired and didn't want to get involved in the mess? Who do you think was actually lying, and who do you think was actually telling the truth? Comment down below and let me know. But other than that, I will see you guys in my next updated makeup routine and story time. Let me know what you guys think of this makeup routine, because I did it from scratch, because a lot of you guys have been asking me for this updated foundation routine. So comment down below, let me know what you thought. But until then, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.